welcome back to Sock Talk. It's been a minute.
Been quite a while.
There's been some ups and downs with
Mostly downs.
Yeah. Last recording kind of got ruined. It's gonna take a while to kind of fix and everything. So forget about that. Then Ryan's laptop broke.
Yeah, that's why it's not here.
And not having a laptop also makes it a little bit harder to edit these.
It makes it monumentally harder.
And then, just some busier schedules. And then plus, we were kind of planning on taking a break. We filmed one, and then
we're like, oh, we're good for like 2 weeks. And then a month later, we're like, I still can't fix it.
Yeah, the other one's not up, and nothing's came out. And yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
But here we are. Game plan today is kind of go over the last episode briefly, what we kind of talked about in it. Congrats, Zach. I don't think we ever said that on the championship.
Zach was our champion. This is, it was funny because that was week 17.
Yeah.
And we
were talking about the playoffs.
We didn't. Congrats to the Chiefs.
We were talking about our first round, like, guesses and predictions, and then
it was funny. It was pretty funny.
Yeah. But we're gonna go through that. Gonna still go over some news. There's been a few trades that have gone down, so probably touch on those. Then this is gonna be the big award show, where we'll go over all the awards. I'll announce the winners here, so you guys get to see it. And then we'll probably give our thoughts on each of them, kind of maybe who we voted for, what we think about that. And then we'll also talk about the rules. Those got voted for. That was good English there.
Those are words.
Shaking the rust off. But yeah, so we have the results of those. So we'll probably talk about those, announce what the future is going to look like, and then we'll see if anything else pops up.
Yeah, we'll kind of just see how this goes. Probably our longest intro since week 1, I think.
Yeah, well, sorry.
Yeah, let's get into the news.
All right, so we are back with the news. There's been...
I missed that saying, all right, we're back. I missed that.
We're back. There's been a few trades that went on. We advanced the league, got here, and some trades have already been popping off. A big one right off the bat, Jazz Miss sent Evan Ingram, Terry McLaurin, or he received Evan Ingram. He received Evan Ingram, Terry McLaurin, 2025 third, and a 2025 second. Trevor got Tyreek Hill.
You know, I think that's a decent package for Tyreek Hill. I think we said this a lot this year with some of the trades. Maybe you'd like to see a first in there, but I also think Terry McLaurin has proven to be a very solid wide receiver, kind of quarterback-proof for his time in Washington. Jazz is obviously a little biased to Evan Ingram. He's a Jaguars fan, and they actually announced today that they're probably going to franchise tag him. And the second and third, they're picks. We're not going to see who they are for about 2 years, but...
Yeah. I think, I don't know, it's tough. Tyreek Hill is 29. I'm not sure exactly when he turns 30, but he's either going to be 29 or 30 for the next season. So, yeah, you kind of want to get out of there. He's been so good.
He's top 3 dynasty wide receiver.
Yeah, he's finished as wide receiver 2 last year, 6 the year before that, and 2 the year before that. He's almost guaranteed to be like a top 10 finish so far, and I don't know if I see that stopping. I get pivoting off for a little bit more picks and value, but Terry's still 27, so it's not like you got a little bit younger, but really only 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's not like you got a super young piece, and then the extra piece is also Ingram obviously had a really good season and a good finish to the season, finishes a tight end 5 with, I think, a few, 15, 20-point games, spread out, especially towards the end. But I don't know. I think I might want a little bit more for Tyreek if I was selling, but I don't think it's, again, a bad deal.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's a bad deal at all.
And then very recently, Trevor was involved in the trades again. This time he sent away Ayuk in a third and received from Griffin, Deontay Johnson, and Elijah Mitchell.
That's interesting.
There also, forgot, there was the condition on this. The 2025 third becomes a 2026 second if Deontay outscores Ayuk this season.
Okay.
And then there's some injury conditions, too.
I kind of like when we do trades with that. I think we had a player to be named later trade at one point, I think early on, or not early, like 2019-ish.
Yeah, I thought they're definitely interesting. Fun to kind of see. The only thing is, like, hopefully there's not too much because there's no way to put, like, conditional in the app. Maybe I'll pin this message just to have it be reminded.
Yeah. Ayuk is in an interesting situation where there's a lot of cooks in that kitchen over in San Francisco. McCaffrey, Kittle, Debo. There's Ayuk there even. Jennings kind of got involved a little bit. I wouldn't say he's threatening Ayuk, but definitely another person to look at in that offense. And with Deontay, he did okay this year. Didn't get a touchdown.
Yeah, I think when he's gonna have to score next year. Like,
You think?
So I
felt
think
so bad because their Week 18 game.
Yeah.
He had 2 touchdowns called back on penalties.
Yeah, but I definitely could see him improving next year, even with, say, he doesn't get as many catches or yards or something. A few touchdowns evens that out or makes it even go above and beyond. You hope to see a step up from Kenny Pickett in year 2 compared to year 1. Canada's still there as our offensive coordinator. He's definitely not the best. But, yeah, I think Ayuk's big there, too. Who's their QB going to be? Are they going to stick with Purdy? Are they going to go with Lance? Are they going to go with Brady out of retirement?
Who knows?
Who knows?
That's the thing that happened, too. Brady retired.
Yeah, they seem pretty even, so I think it's a pretty fair trade. It just kind of pick the guy you like more.
Yeah. I don't think it's a bad trade.
Yeah, Ayuk is 2 years younger, too, so.
And then Elijah Mitchell, it's like a, second string.
That's whatever.
Yeah.
Don't think it's much. But, yeah, those were the trades we had so far. We'll save the rest of the talk for the end, so now we'll come back and just get right into the awards or rules.
One of them. We are back. First thing we're going to talk about, as you noticed by the intro, is the Sockys. It's a kind of an award thing that we do every year. What's cool about this, I have no idea what the results are. So as Adam reads these off, you're going to hear my live reactions to, these awards.
Yeah, we'll probably then, give the thoughts about it a little bit and kind of just see.
I'll try to remember who I picked.
See who won the awards. I think I could check on here too.
Okay,
but the first award we're getting into, we'll do these kind of back to back. The highest expectations for next season and the lowest. So we'll start with the lowest. It was a pretty tight race, but the winner was Matt with 4 votes.
Yeah. I think I voted for Matt or Steve. I even voted myself, honestly. I feel like, Matt, he's at the bottom. He wasn't dead last this year, again. But he actually finished ranked 11th at the end of the regular season, I believe. Yeah, because Cherry got picked 1. So, really only way to go but up, but also I don't think his team's going to be massively improved. He has a first or two this year, but
Yeah.
I don't think that changes everything around.
I did not vote for Matt, I believe. I also forget who I voted for.
Yeah.
I think it might have been Steve.
I think I also voted Steve or myself.
I voted for Steve. I just think Matt has 13 wins in 5 years.
Ever.
I don't think the expectations are high. They're definitely low for Matt. But I also don't think it's that hard for him to... I think he might do just as good this year, maybe even a win or two better. I'm not saying he's making the playoffs or anything, but Garrett Wilson, Mooney back if Field starts passing more, few draft picks. I think maybe his team is okay.
All right.
Steve, I think it's just a little bit I think people came in thinking he was going to do pretty good. Team kind of fell off, and then I think he's kind of in like a lower tier but middle tier-ish, and I think that's probably where he stays, if not falls lower.
Yeah, the thing with Steve is that he does have a couple good pieces. I mean, Najee looked pretty solid to end the year. Same with Donovan Peoples-Jones. If J.K. Dobbins can ever stay on the field for more than 4 snaps, I think he can be a decent player. So, that being said, the rest of the team,
Yeah. Steve did get 3 votes, and then other people's getting votes. Ryan, Jasmus, Evan, and Cherry all got a vote.
Okay, I got a vote. Also, fun fact, in the first 4 years, I've never won a Socky. And I don't think this is the year I do it either. So hopefully I can build up my Let's Get Ryan a Socky campaign.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, I might have one this year. Maybe I'll get one. I don't know the results. But it's not going to be for anything that happened during the regular season.
Highest expectations for the next season. This one was a runaway with 9 of the 12 possible votes. Trevor.
Yeah, I did vote Trevor. I think he's made the championship, more times than some people have made the playoffs. Yet to win one.
Yeah, I think
at some point.
I think people are expecting a Trevor win. They're expecting at least the playoffs, and I think it's kind of been stitched in stone. It's like wide receiver U goes to the playoffs, and they make a pretty good run. And I think that's kind of what everybody's thinking.
Yeah, this is my call to action for Trevor's team. Does wide receiver U run this league?
It looks like people believe that. And then the other people getting votes, Jasmus, after the undefeated season. I think people are thinking, let's see it again.
Yeah, run it back.
Zach, after winning the championship, got a vote. And then Matt got a vote.
Hey.
Someone out there thinks Matt is going to turn this ship around.
Maybe he will.
Maybe he will. Next, we're going to go to the player that you wish you had.
This one hurt for me. I know who I voted for.
The winner, with 5 votes, Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
He's a stud. He's who I voted for. I would like Justin Jefferson.
Who are the other candidates?
No, I think I know who you voted for.
I think I voted for them too. I don't remember, but I think I remember.
The other people getting votes, Ken Walker.
Yeah, that was the one.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, CMC, CeeDee Lamb, Chris Olave, Elijah Moore, and Isaiah Hodgins.
Elijah Moore.
There's a wide range of talented players on this. I think Jefferson is the clear winner. That's who I voted for. Griff, if you'd ever want to trade Jefferson, I'm here. Would love to have him.
Yeah, and I think I picked Ken Walker for the memes because I had Ken Walker for like 2 months, and I was like, I'll take Debo back. That's cool. I'll definitely be good this year.
Next, we'll go with the best social media this year.
This was definitely not me.
We've called this basically the Griff Award because he's won it every year.
Yeah.
And this year, it's no different. Kind of. We actually have a tie.
Ooh.
Griff and Trevor have both tied for the best social media this year.
I think I voted for Trevor strictly because of the stuff he was posting for the championship.
Yeah, they both got 5 votes. Zach also got 2. I think it's the two different things you look at. Griff, he is like on top of it. The Devil Rays social media basically is like a professional team's social media.
Like I am impressed when Griff, it's always like one of his has a touchdown and like immediately has like a GIF ready for it, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's
like
already up. I don't know if he just plans
I
everything
don't think
before,
I've tweeted on my account since like 2022.
Yeah, I tweet out every once in a while, but I'll try to do a little bit better on mine this year, but he is just on top of it. And
I think one of the things I gotta do this year is before we do next year's Sock Talks, where I have to edit every single week, I take the time to create some stuff for my own social media, because I had like one picture I did for like my first win, and I was like, that's good enough.
Yeah. But yeah, Griff is on top of it, and I think his like professionally is the best, but then I think Trevor's is hilarious. The posts, him calling people out, the smear campaign against Zach.
What was Jones Drew hates throwing the frisbee?
Yeah, I think that was very funny. Also, you can't forget the trolling of the Celtics fans.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so I think it's two different ends of the spectrum, and they are both great.
Yeah.
Zach also very funny.
funny.
And his also does look pretty good too. But yeah, I think those are all very, like, deserving. The two deserving people, I think, tied for winning. And
Absolutely, yeah.
I would have to agree with that. Next, we're going to talk about the most improved season. This one was Jasmus with 6 of the votes.
Yeah, I think he was a wild card team that made a run last year. This year he looked absolutely dominant. I think I voted. Yeah, I voted for him. I'm trying to remember because I did this like at work one day. I was like, let me just do this quick.
Yeah, I forgot who I voted for too. I think Jasmus is definitely deserving of this. He did make the championship last year and technically didn't, this year, so kind of did worse.
But I think it was like more the impact he had.
Yeah, I think you look at his regular season last year, it was like around 500, a little bit over. This season, undefeated all the way through. He definitely is well deserving of this. Also getting votes, Zach with 3, won the championship.
Yeah.
Matt with 2. Matt being very bad to getting
not last.
A handful of wins, breaking 100 a handful of times. I think that's fair. And then Ethan,
He scored a lot of points.
But he did win the championship last year, and
yeah,
he just snuck into the playoffs this year, but
and got walloped.
Yeah, I think he did improve, even though he kind of did the same thing of just sneaking into the playoffs. But his team did better and worse at the same time. It was a weird season.
It was. We've probably, if there was an unluckiest season
award. There is an unluckiest season award, and that was definitely won by Ethan.
Yeah.
He got 7 votes. He was the clear winner.
7?
Yeah, there were a few other votes spread around.
I hope one of them was for me.
No.
Ugh. Oh, I tried.
But yeah, Ethan got 7. We've talked about the points against. We talked about just if he had Jasmus's, or give him my schedule, he has 10 wins. Give him your schedule, he has 9. Give him anybody's schedule, he does better with anybody but his schedule.
Yeah.
He's fighting for a bye, or you give him Jasmus isn't as dominant. It's just unlucky schedule. Still made the playoffs again, then faced Zach, juggernaut in round 1.
He was down by 70 after Thursday night.
He sold his soul for the championship, and then this year they took it back. Had a pretty lucky good season last year. Things fell the right way, and then this one it evened it out, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
Also receiving votes, Evan got 2, and then I got a vote, Jasmus got a vote, and Steve got a vote.
I feel like you're always kind of with the unluckiest because your IR is full by. This year it kind of got a little bit. It was full by week 6. Usually it's week 2. You're just
Yeah,
like,
Evan
done.
obviously with the
So
could've made the
many,
yeah.
so many, just 1 point.
1
losses.
point games and that could have made the playoffs in the other division.
It's almost crazy that like, I know Evan's not gonna want to hear this, and I'm sorry, Evan, but like, think about how drastically the league changes if like Evan wins one of those games and Zach's not in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's very different.
yeah.
But yeah, now we'll get into the ad of the year. This one, the nominations were Brock Purdy, Donta Foreman, Raheem Mostert, and Isaiah Pacheco. The winner here was Isaiah Pacheco with 9 votes. 75% of the league voted for him. Foreman got 2, and Mostert got 1. I think, you look at Pacheco, he came in big when it was needed most, that end of the season stretch for Jasmus. Playoffs look good there. Also being a rookie, finding that off waivers is a pretty big ad compared to like a Mostert or Foreman, who it's like, how much future are you really going to get out of it? So I think looking at that standpoint, I think that's who I voted for.
I think I picked Mostert, or I forget. It might even been Foreman just because I was like, hey, Panthers, we got representation.
Yeah. They all had good years. I think he just might have the best longevity out of that, and I think that's why myself and probably a few others voted for him.
Yeah.
Next, we're going to get to the draft steal and then also the draft bust. The draft steal this year with 5 votes goes to Dameon Pierce.
Yeah, James with his 2nd and 3rd round devil magic, as we mentioned before.
Yeah, he definitely had a great season. Looked really good, especially in the beginning. Got hurt towards the end, and I think that hurt him a little bit, but it was definitely a great season, and getting that at the 2nd round, pick 3.
Who were the other nominees there?
The other nominees were Tyler Algier, who had 4 votes, who was drafted at 305. I think that might have been who I voted for. I just think getting it a whole round later and also really good production, even though Pierce might have the better long-term outlook than Algier. I don't know. I think they both put up really good years.
Yeah.
Brian Robinson at 211, my player. He got 2 votes, and then Romeo Dobbs at 307 got 1 vote.
I think I picked Pierce.
Yeah. Dobbs got off to a really good start, and then got hurt, and then just was kind of throughout the rest. But I think if he kept that beginning, like 10, 15 points a game for that whole year, it would have been a very clear winner there, too. Another one of James's draftees.
Yeah. Now on Steve's team.
Yep. And then when we look at draft bust, the winner here was Sky Moore with 7 votes.
I voted Sky Moore.
I voted Sky Moore. I was so high on him. I would have taken him earlier than 110.
I got clowned for taking Christian Watson over him.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about clowned, but
people were like, why would you take Watson over Sky Moore?
Yeah. I don't think that was the most outrageous thing, but I think I was like, oh, I'd have this guy over this guy. And I think other people probably had that too. You made the right decision.
Yeah.
Sky Moore did not do much. He muffed a couple punts, scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl, baby. Good for him. But he had 7 votes. Second place was my guy Burks. He got 3 votes at 102.
I don't think he's a bust.
I don't think he's a bust. I think it's just when you look and it's like I could have had Garrett Wilson.
It was a 102.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
And
if you got him like 111, it's like, all right, we'll give him some time.
Yeah, even like 1.5, I don't think it's as bad of a pick. I just think it's like, you look at the other players that were right there that I could have had, I made the wrong decision.
I thought you were going to put John Metke on here. I'm like, oh, there goes my win. There's my first Socky.
Jamison Williams got 1 vote at 106. And John Mechie got a write-in vote. He did get a vote.
Shit.
So him at the 202 getting cancer definitely makes him a bust.
I'm not gonna lie. That one might have been me.
It wasn't.
It wasn't?
No.
Okay. Then fuck you, whoever did that. Who wrote that shit in?
I don't remember completely. It might have been Ethan. It might have been...
Fuck you.
It might have been someone. I just remember reading it, seeing like there's a vote for Mechie, and I just laughed pretty hard. It was...
At first I'm like, did I do that? Because like there is part of me where like, did I take this seriously?
I don't think you did.
Okay.
I think it was someone for sure.
That we know. Okay.
Yeah, that's funny. That one got a good laugh out of me. Got a good laugh here. It was it was a good vote.
Almost won my first Socky. Just like 6 votes off. All right.
Best draft.
This is the moment I'm waiting for. And it definitely wasn't me.
With 6 votes, your winner, James.
Fuck. Yeah, no, yeah.
I think when you look at, you did have 2 votes. Griff also had 2 votes, and Ethan had a vote. I think when you look at James, he came away with some solid players from not as good picks. Like, you definitely got Hall, drafted Walker, and Watson, who are all very good players, but that's kind of like what you expect with like a pick 1 and then a pick.
Yeah. Then my second round pick, as just mentioned, got cancer.
Yeah,
And
I think
their second round pick broke his foot in a preseason game.
Yeah, James hitting on some of those later picks. I think that's what won it for him. He did a lot with not the most draft capital, so I think that's
yeah, no, James definitely deserves that one.
Yeah, Griff too, getting Garrett Wilson and Jameson Williams at the 5 and 6, I believe. It's like Garrett Wilson, if we redrafted now, might just be the number 1 player in the class. Tough to completely say. And then Ethan getting Olave at like 8 or 9, wherever it was. And then Alec Pierce at 112, who don't know if he quite lived up to the expectations, but
I think he was a decent player this year.
yeah, I think it was fine. I think the Colts offense as a whole was pretty poor. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I think James was definitely deserving. Very good draft, so good for him.
Yeah.
Now we'll get into the most disappointing season. That was won by Steve with 6 votes.
Yeah. One of the things that when Steve came into the league, it made big moves right off the bat. You're thinking, oh, you know, he's going for it year 1. Got to respect it, you know, trying to make a statement when he comes in, and then by week 2, we're like, oh.
Yeah.
He
He definitely went for it. There was some talk. I think he even brought up, it was like the last 2 people that have joined the Sock League won a championship in like 2 years. I think he was like, I'm going to go join that list of people joining and then winning a championship. The opposite happened.
Yeah.
Still funny to look back and be like, man, if he just kept some of those players, if he keeps Kelsey, if he keeps Derrick Henry, is he in the playoffs? I don't know if he wins. I think he might get into the playoffs. Still tough to say. You don't know for sure.
You never know.
But it was definitely a disappointing season for him. Others getting votes. Ethan. I think Ethan coming off the championship and then barely squeaking in. It's a fair vote. Jasmus with 2 votes. I think just the undefeated season to then first round or second round exit in the playoffs. Tough for him. Evan and then Cherry also got votes. Cherry after 2 dominant years. And Evan had a pretty good year. Yeah. Now we have 2 more awards. We'll go with the Manager of the Year. This one was won by Zach. So this continues the streak of whoever wins the championship wins the Manager of the Year award.
Yeah, no, that's...
He got 5 votes. I think I voted for him, and I think he did deserve it. I think we might need to kind of split this award up in the future to... I don't know. Because I think if you look at Zach's team as a manager, kind of stunk. He made a lot of wrong start-sit decisions.
Yeah,
He lost to Matt.
I think I voted Jasmus. I was like, I mean, again, he went undefeated. Like, you doing something right.
Yeah, but I think when you look at Zach too, he halfway through the season he made the moves. He got Kittle. Kittle helped him down the stretch. He got like the Lockett. Lockett helped him in a few tough times. He made the trades to get the players he needed to give him that push. He got a Mixon, and Mixon had some good weeks for him. It's like he went out, attacked, got the players that he needed to win a championship, and then won that championship. I think he got Mike Evans too. Like, a lot of this team he traded for this season to get him to the point where he was, and I think that is. So maybe we need a distinguish, like a manager and then like an owner, and the owner's more like the person that went out and traded to set their team up for a good future, and manager's like
GM and manager, maybe something like that.
Yeah, something like that to kind of distinguish it. But yeah, Jasmus also got 3 votes. Obviously, I think he traded for Tyreek before the season, but that still counts as like this year. Made a few other moves. I think what kind of looks tough here is he made some moves that kind of then backfired on him, like trading for
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, who then kind of did nothing. Then he traded away Lockett. Was that the same deal, Lockett for Clyde?
Yeah, it was Lockett for Clyde.
And it's like then Lockett finished pretty good this year, and it's like, man, if Jasmus has that depth, especially with like the cup injury, it's like maybe that helps him. Was there more he could have done? Got to upgrade at tight end or something. Tough to say. Griff got 3 votes. Griff, good
Greg
manager. Yeah, Dortch, Isaiah Hodgins, got those guys. He definitely made some good moves.
Griff is really good at finding those like mid-season pickups that like go for like 4 weeks.
Yeah. And then Cherry, you got a vote?
I think he made good trades. I'm not gonna.
He's locked up Bijan, so I guess that's fair enough version to.
I mean, he has a lot of future assets. I think a lot of things when it comes to best manager, again, people are looking at the success.
Yeah, I think success is looked at a lot, not necessarily always just setting up the team. And I think he had more of a kind of set up your team for the future, get that top pick, get a lot of future picks. We're probably going to see Cherry with a really good team in a few years. Not success this year, but that helped him get the first pick.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a good season for him by his standards.
And
I'm sure
from
that's
what
what he was
we're
going
all
for.
seeing, a generational running back.
Yeah. So I think we might need to kind of mix it up. Add another award, like a set up the team award, and had a good lineup, built a good lineup, and set a good lineup each week to win. Like, that'll just be discussed next year, if I remember.
Yeah.
Instead of just every year, oh, he won the championship, he was the best manager.
There you go.
Because I remember, like, one of the years. I think my year when I won it, and then I think, like, one of Cherry's years, it's like, we both set a bunch of groundwork to build the foundation the year before, and then the next year it's like, oh, we have this good team. And then won it there, and it's like, we probably should have won it the year before, because that's where we kind of built this. And then this year, we just kind of had to just sit back and watch our good players put up good points.
We could even do one award where it's like, oh, team best built for the future or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's kind of also like most highest expectations.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, that'll be discussed next year. And then finally, the prestigious Nate Award. This year, it was won by Jasmus.
Wow.
Wins the Nate Award.
I voted for Nate.
I voted for Jasmus.
I voted for Nate.
Jasmus got 4 votes. Nate got 3 votes. Steve got 2 votes. Matt got 1 vote. Bobby got 1 vote, and Griff's cat got 1 vote. There's definitely a wide range.
You know, I think it's a huge snub for Griff's cat. You know,
I think Bobby, his sock talk performances were great.
Yeah.
And I think this is the beauty of the Nate Award. You never know who you're going to see possibly win this. I think Jasmus, I think last year Nate might have got like 7, 8, 9 votes. Jasmus still pulled out 2. This year, Jasmus took the award home, and it's a big honor for Jasmus.
Yeah, so...
just missed out on Manager of the Year, but won the Nate Award.
You won the Nate Award.
Jasmus, you're officially Nate.
So some could say that that's a bigger reward.
When people thought of the Nate Award, they thought of you, Jasmus. Congrats to that. And that's going to conclude our 2022 Sockys. I think looking back, it was a great season.
Oh, yeah.
I think the show was a lot of fun. I think the season was really good.
As a joke, you should have done like best sock league content, just sock talk, what would Jones Drew podcast. I think we might have lost that one.
Just Zach's Twitter Spaces.
Yeah,
that might have won.
That might have been the most fun I had this year. Was just joining a Twitter Space. It's just like me, Zach, Griffin, Trevor, Evan, and then just.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of great moments, a lot of close games, the Twitter Spaces, all the content that got put out. I think it was a lot of fun this year. Looking forward to next year, hoping we keep up a lot of the stuff we've been doing. Would love to add more. And I'm still really hoping that we can all kind of get together, maybe not for the Sockys, obviously, but maybe over the summer, find some time where we could kind of get the league together, everybody hang out, because it's been a while.
Like, I've never met Trevor before. We've been doing this for 5 years. I've never met Trevor before. A lot of the league has never met Steve because he's new.
You ever met Ethan?
I have not met Ethan, so I've never met Ethan.
Yeah, I think if we look at...
I didn't meet Nate until after he left the league.
Yeah, I think the only people that have met everybody are me, Griff, and Zach, maybe?
I believe, yeah. I never met Richie, but...
Yeah, I think it might be us, because I don't think they've met, like, the other Massachusetts URI kids. I don't think they've met Steve, and then I don't think...
The Massachusetts kids that were at the original Sockys who did this in person, I think it was just Evan and Sherry. Because I believe Trevor couldn't make it down.
Yeah, Trevor was at a Providence basketball game, and Ethan was not in the league yet. And then...
we invited Richie, he didn't show up.
Yeah. And then... yeah, so they haven't met Steve, and then a lot of the people here haven't met Trevor yet. But, yeah, Trevor ate pizza in my kitchen.
Wow.
Like a year or two ago, and that's the last time I saw him.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. But yeah, it's always fun to get everybody together, see everybody. If we do it in the summer, that would be cool. If we wait till football season, if we could find a day where we could go somewhere, watch a game with the league, I think that would be a really fun experience, or go to a game. I know we talked about that a lot. Hopefully we figure something out. But yeah, it's a great season, and I'm looking forward to the next.
Absolutely, yeah.
And speaking of the next season, let's talk about the rule changes that we have coming up.
Right after this short 5-second break. All right, we're back once again. This time we're looking ahead to the 2023 season with some rule changes, just like with the Sockys. I voted on these. I have no idea how they swung, so you're going to get my live reaction again. Let's toss over to Adam for our first rule.
Yeah, so basically, this is more of my commish hat on, but always trying to look for, listen to the league, what they like, and trying to add new things to make it interesting. Like we've done a lot of stuff in the past, changed a few things, and I think we're always, like, I'm trying to look at kind of what other leagues are doing and stuff that I find cool, but also not like league breaking. Like I'd never add a super flex because that changes the value way too much of a quarterback to then ever have it actually be able to like materialize to like get to that point. It's not like, oh, we could just 2 years. It's like, oh, then everybody's holding on to their quarterbacks, and it's like if you're in a bad spot, it just screws you. Like if you only have one good option or whatever.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't do that. And then there's also like someone this year asked for IDP, and it's like I don't. We're not doing IDP defensive players, but I'll take suggestions on anything and try to look to kind of see what people want, and then kind of ask everybody to vote. If it gets a majority, kind of go with it, and then kind of just also make my decision on what I think would be best for the overall view of the league, and then just keep looking for new stuff to keep it changing, active, and fun.
All right.
So the first one was the buy-in. A few people on the Sockys, when they asked like what about the league, like their thoughts, ideas, and stuff, they wanted it to be increased. So we had a vote here, and we had 9 yeses and 3 nos. So that will be an increase this year. It was pretty much a debate between $75 or $100 for the buy-in, and I think with the most was 75. I think that had like 6 of the options, and then 3 people were more towards 100. But I think 75 is a good spot. $25 more. I think with this too, it's fun. I think with how much time a lot of people put into this, it's definitely like the higher the buy-in, it makes it more worth it, and it's not like a crazy price.
Oh yeah,
or
absolutely.
anything. Like you think about it, $75. It's like okay, people probably spend $75 on a lot dumber things than this for something that's gonna, get you invested, give you enjoyment for a whole year. Like when you look at it through the grand scheme of things, like people are paying $12, $15 to go to a movie for 2 hours. This it's like okay, now you're watching most games with more intent, combine, draft, everything matters more. You're doing research and stuff on your own, your social media stuff. So I definitely think
Yeah, I voted yes, despite the fact that my team is more going to be me paying for it than getting paid for it. But you see the effort that we go through. I mean, outside of just us doing the show, we have the best social media award. You have Griffin, Zach, Trevor, who do really good things there. It's the investment year
people
round.
watching college football to get a scope of these prospects that are coming in, watching the combine, scouting players. I know I've already watched film on some guys to try to get a good idea. Plus, then it's like, oh, now I need to watch this Monday night game because I have a guy going, and it's like that makes it more fun. And obviously, then you want to be rewarded for putting in that time. And then if you win, I think it is tough because it's like if you're not really in a position to win, you're like, do I really want to vote to raise this? Like I could see that being a debate. Why do I want to raise this when I know I'm not going to win? I'm rebuilding. But it definitely did get the majority. So 75 next year for the buy-in. That's what it's looking like.
That's our first rule.
To change the division format, it's an overwhelming no. Sorry, Evan.
I tried to make it fun if we were going to redo it. I did.
Yeah, it was 10-2 in favor of no. So
I said we should do 4 divisions with 3 teams in each division.
That was a pretty bad idea, but it was a yes. And then, so we're keeping the divisions the way they are.
We got a fuck no.
There was a fuck no. Someone was definitely not down to do that.
I feel like it's because we kind of have our own storylines within each division. I think especially, at least from my experience, like in the spit division where it's like I've been rivals with Griffin since the second day this league was a thing. Zach and Evan are rivals. You could even say that the Trevor and Cherry, like when they were both really good teams, just having these high scoring games. I think that's a lot that's been written there.
I also think there's I totally understand where everyone's coming from. It sucks that it's happened to him twice, where it's like you would
Yeah.
have got in instead of here. But I do think a lot of it comes down to like the schedule, and it's not like anybody knows when it's like, oh, Matt's gonna have a good week this week. Like nobody knows that going into the season. Nobody like I'm making the schedule before the NFL schedule comes out. It's not like I'm like, oh, I know that when the Eagles play the 49ers, I'm going to match us up to get Jalen Hurts to have a bad match. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like anything like that could be done. It's all random. Fantasy's a lot of.
I think we make the schedule before
Yeah.
we know the schedule.
Yeah, I said that. So it's like, but then one team like Ethan this year will randomly just get a ton of poor luck. And it's like, yeah, you take a good team from the other division and swap them. It's like, okay, they still do bad now. And that Ethan still does good in the other division because now he has an easy schedule. Like, I think Jasmine's had a pretty easy schedule throughout. So it's like, you could take a bad team, put it there, and it's just a lot of luck with how your schedule ends up more than necessarily like the division until that like last playoff spot doesn't work out or works out in your favor. Last year, we had everybody vote. I don't know if I ever even. I think I brought it up. This was like a year ago too about adding the fourth round. Some people brought it up as they wanted that to be done. Some people brought it up this year too. So maybe I didn't make it clear enough, but we were adding a fourth round. I think last year it got, I think, 8 yeses, like some I don't cares, and like 1 or 2 no's. Like it was pretty overwhelmingly yes. So this we were voting on what year to add it. So we're gonna add it not for this draft, but next year's draft. So after the draft this year, I'll add the fourth round picks in, so then they could now be traded. And everybody will just have their own teams for all the 3 years, and then we'll kind of go from there. Adding the fourth round, I think that just makes sometimes you have those like rookies that you like later. I think that'll make it fun. Obviously, more trade pieces. Gonna be interesting to kind of see how the value is there. Oh yeah, one thing too. Going back to the buy-in, someone brought up a point of possibly changing the payout structure, maybe making the third place game worth something, or because right now we have basically 10 players buy-in goes to whoever wins, and then 2 players buy-in minus $10 goes to second, and then I use $10 to buy the like nameplate and stuff for the trophy, and then from there. So this is something we could just kind of talk about in the group chat too. Would we want to change the
payout structure?
The payout structure, maybe take a little bit away from first, and then like I don't know, because now with the 75, maybe do like 700 for first, 140 for second, 50 for third. So it's like you get back 2/3 of your buy-in, and then I still take 10 to buy the nameplate.
Something along those
lines. But like we could possibly do that where it's like first gets a little bit less, second would get the same portion, but third would get like 2/3 or however that would work. Or do we want to keep it the same? But that was just another idea that someone had for this. So thought I should bring that to light.
All right, yeah.
I've also seen other leagues have payouts for other stuff, but that would have to probably increase the buy-in even more.
Yeah, I've seen a really complicated one where it's like you get like this much money if you're the highest scorer of the week. You get this much if you have a guy that gets like, I think it was like 45 plus points.
I saw one where it was like if you were a top 6 scorer, you got like some money, and it's like I definitely think a league like that would be cool. Buy-in would probably have to be pretty big.
Yeah, probably 200 or more.
Yeah, if not like 500. But then it's like everybody is probably winning some money throughout the season, so I guess that would be the thing that kind of makes it interesting. You get some back, but
down the road.
Yeah, but that's not for this league, but that's just another thing I've seen. Next would be only allowing drafted players to the taxi squad. Let me just do the math.
He's thinking. He's doing math.
So this one got 7 yeses and 5 nos. So we did get the majority. So this one will also be passed. And then
So just to clarify, I think I understand it. And I voted yes, I thought it was a cool idea. So if we pick up a rookie on waivers who wasn't drafted, we cannot put them on the taxi squad.
yeah.
Because that was also kind of the thing that like I think a lot of us were doing. It's like the guys we drafted, we kept on our roster. Maybe our 3rd round picks with the taxi squad, and then I'll pick up a guy like Jeremy Ruckert. I'll be like, to the taxi squad, just stash him for 2
I think
years.
it made it definitely made that first day after the draft interesting, because then it's like everybody's bidding on everybody, because then it's like that's just who everybody's gonna stash on the taxi squad. Like, you're going hard for that. But I think this makes it a little more difficult with those players, because it's like now you're forced to keep them on your active roster. So it's like those James Robinsons that you pick up. Like, oh, I could just put him on my taxi, and then it's like, oh, he turned into something perfect. It's like, okay, now we're all thinking, it's like, do I have an active roster spot for this guy, or do I not? And then it's like, oh, now this guy's looking good. Who's going to be the first person to jump on him? It's like, okay, now maybe it's like preseason, week 2, week 3. Oh, he is showing stuff in the preseason. I do want him. Let me go put a big bid in for him, or however that works out. And then, does it change the value of like the 4th round picks we just added, or 3rd round picks, where it's like before it's like, yeah, 4th, 3rds kind of throw-ins, but now it's like the taxi squad is part of your roster. You'd obviously like to take these lottery ticket guys, so it's like, oh, maybe let me try to get like this 4th so I can keep this guy for an extra 2 years. Half the, like, when you think about it, to tell most of the time people don't pan out anyway, so whatever. But also I think the day after waivers would also be a little bit less with the 4th round, because now 12 more rookies are getting drafted.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of times, like, okay, you see a bunch go off, but it's like now those guys are already going to be drafted by the people that have those 4th round picks, and now they're just able to taxi those guys, where now it's like there's probably going to be a few less rookies right off the bat, and it's like, are you going to get that guy to keep him on your active roster? And it makes, having picks valuable, but it's also more valuable to trade away too. So I think it's an interesting idea. That'll also be added in 2024. The same year the 4th round is also added. So for this draft, nothing's changed. It's still 3 rounds, and it's still the players you pick up you could put on your taxi after the draft, and then it's still going to be the same throughout for this year. And then next year you're going to be able to start trading for 4ths, and that'll be it. Also, the players you pick up and put on your taxi squad this year, they're going to be allowed to stay their 2nd year. I'm not going to then
grandfathered in.
Yeah, even if they were added and not drafted. So that'll stay the same for next year too.
Okay. Yeah, that definitely clears it up. I read it, and I think I understood. I just wanted to,
Yeah.
obviously go to the source, because you would know better than anyone.
Yeah, I forgot. I don't know if I was listening to a show or just saw like a tweet, and I saw that idea they were talking about it, and they were like, oh, this is a fun thing that we have in our league. And I was like, oh, that is a cool idea. It adds a little bit more strategy of like, oh, how can I fill up my taxi squad by trading for these picks? Am I going to trade down from a 2nd to get like 2/3 and 2/4 to fill up my taxi, or do you still try to get the better player? What are you willing to give up for a 4th? Stuff like that.
This light does not like us tonight.
No, yeah, it's very flickery.
Yeah.
And then lastly, adding an extra flex spot. Again, let me look. This one got 8 yeses and 4 nos. So this one's also passed. Let me check the year too. Out of those 8 yeses, 5 said for 2024, 3 said for 2025. So, gonna do that. 2024 had the majority.
So the way it's shaping up, it looks like not this season, but next season there's going to be a lot of changes.
Yeah.
Which could freshen things up. I mean.
Yeah, I think the extra flex spot is a fun idea, and I just think it leads to more like weekly thoughts of like there's still going to be a team that probably has a sick 10-man lineup and just throws out that same 10 every week, but then there's also going to be teams where it's like, oh, they maybe have like 8 good players and they have 4 players that could go in these last 2 flex spots, and it's like, oh, which 2 are you going to go with? Are you going to go with this rookie that just started breaking out, some random player that you just found? Are you going to go with like this vet where it's like, hopefully, are you going to try to get like a consistent like 8 to 10 points out of your flex? Or you're going to go, oh, boom or bust, put in like a player where it's like this guy's either going to get no catches or he's going to catch 4 for 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. How do people go with there? I think it adds a little bit more, strategy to the game, and I think...
And we'll also see some a little bit higher scores, too.
Yeah, higher scoring, and it gives those... It's only 12 more players in the grand scheme of things, too.
Yeah, it's not like we're changing the entire structure.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of weeks where players are being sat that are, it's like, oh, this guy's a good player. And then...
I haven't had that problem in a while, but...
Yeah, I remember, I think 2 or 3, or whenever I was good, 3-4 years ago, it was like you're sitting there and it's like, oh, I have this guy consistently scoring 15 on my bench, but it's like, who am I going to put him in for? And I think this gives a little more kind of leeway, and I think those people better at the daily fantasy stuff and picking a good matchup, which honestly I don't think I'm the best at. I think I'm more like, oh, this guy is good. He's projected more points. Let me put him in. I think
I try not to be a whore for the projections. Sometimes I'm just like, I like the matchup better than the projections.
Yeah, sometimes I am, but I think this could definitely help a Griff, who he's great at finding those 4-week fillers, and he could definitely get them. He could get Greg Dortch in his lineup right away, get Travis Fulgham in his lineup right away, get Leah Hodgins. Yeah, and I think he's also smart. I remember he had a whole cornerback versus wide receiver algorithm thing that he told me about once about oh, this is a great matchup for this guy, and it's I think he's pretty good at those start shit the start shit situations. But yeah, that's also to be added in 2024, so I think that'll give everybody at least a year. I don't think it really affects much too, because I still think studs are kings. If you have a guy dropping 30 every week, doesn't matter who your extra flex is now, he's still dropping 30.
Yeah.
It just, those middle weeks could change a little bit.
You ever regret that guy where it's left 20 points on my bench? Now you have the extra spot. You have a...
And then when you still leave that guy that drops 20 on your bench, you just feel even worse about it.
You just jump out the window.
Yeah, it'll be very funny. Oh, I started 3 guys that put up 3 points combined, and I sat the guy that caught 2 touchdowns. Nice. And I think it gives you a little more, you could use that third flex spot to play a little bit more risky of oh, yeah, I'm way too afraid to start Jawan Johnson. And then he started going sick. It's man, maybe if I had that third flex, I'd start Jawan Johnson. Obviously, too, those flex or those bye weeks are going to be a little bit rough.
Yeah, especially if you have a multi.
And injured, and could be some very low scoring weeks.
Yeah.
But
It opens the door to endless possibilities.
and I think, especially like come around trade deadline time, I think this will be a very interesting of like, oh, I need to have maybe an extra depth piece that I didn't last year. Of like, oh, I should go out and trade for this guy, and I think that helps rebuilders who are looking to sell. And then it's also like contenders are going out getting more of like, oh, I need to have a deep team for this playoff run to make sure I'm not like one injury away of being screwed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this draft this year, nothing's changing but the buy-in.
Okay.
All of these are going into effect next draft. Next season, there's the 4th round pick that could be traded. Next draft after the 2024 draft is the one where those picks are going to be involved, the 4th round picks. That's going to be the one where only those drafted players are going to your taxi.
And then after that, we'll have the 3rd flex spot.
The 3rd flex spot in the lineup. So that's what was voted on by the league.
Those were the rule changes.
And now we'll get into some stuff.
Things, man.
One more segment.
Kind of more looking ahead.
All right, this last segment will be stuff. Since we lost the last episode,
it's gone.
That was the long-awaited, way too early power rankings that have now been waited even longer.
Yeah, it's the way too early, but not that early power
So
rankings.
Ignore the trades that happened.
What trades?
Good. And I'm just gonna kind of say them quick.
I'm not gonna edit any logos here,
Yeah.
so fuck you guys.
So 12, I have Steve. Yeah, I didn't think he was going to do good. I don't have my notes for this anymore. 11, I have Matt. They were the 2 lowest expectation voters going into next season. If the shoe fits. 10, I have Cherry. I was like, he's getting Bajan, so I don't think he's going to be last again, but I think that's like one of his only picks. Maybe make some trades, but still not super high. Then I have you. Getting Brees back, I think, is going to be big.
Yeah, and not only for me, but for the Jets as well.
8, I had James. Forgot what I said here.
I think it's just because he doesn't really have a ton of draft capital.
Yeah. Same thing with 7, Griff. I think Griff has just solid team, and I think he's going to be solid. He's solid every year. He's just good at the fantasy football thing.
Yeah.
He finds a way to stay competitive. And then he says, I'm going to blow it up. And then he wins 4 games in a row.
And then he buys.
6, I have Evan. Evan, he's going to get likely Gibbs. And I think running back is his, like one of his weak spots. So I think that's going to be a nice breath of fresh air there. Be interesting to see if he makes any other moves and stuff. But I think he's going to be another team fighting for the playoffs. And then... Yeah. 5, I have myself. I have draft picks. And I was middle-ish of the road last year. I was like, it came down to literally the last week for me. It's like, if I scored a few more points at any point in the season or just won one game, I get in. So I think I'm like right there on the door knocking. And I think this gives me some depth, so when like my first set of starters get hurt, my backup set of starters isn't Ben Skowronek.
Yeah. And Olamide Zacchaeus.
4, I have Jasmus. I think Jasmus is good at fantasy football, as he did by going undefeated.
First time that happens.
I think the only question is his team's kind of getting older now. 2, also where will Josh Jacobs end up? Where will like Cooper Kupp off the injury? Kind of like the Rams kind of looked weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
And plus he doesn't really have many picks, if any, this year. So tough not to add depth, but we'll kind of see. He was kind of a wizard on the waiver wire.
Yeah. Just
And he was finding just guys that would randomly come on, like the Pacheco
down to
Foreman. Like two of the options there were Jasmus. So plus he had some other guys like a Kenny and Drake who had a few good weeks. So if he keeps finding those uh, players, I think that's good for him. 3, I have Zach, just won the championship, and he does have his first this year, the last pick, so he could get another player to kind of fit in there. I think it's here too. It's kind of some age questions. One, who's going to be throwing the ball to Devontae Adams, and Adams is getting older. Does Rodgers get back there? Do they reunite that? Or is it a Jared Stidham, or is it a rookie? Pretty up in the air there. Same thing with CMC. He's going to be like 27, 28. Joe Mixon, they're talking about cut candidate. Plus, he's getting older, so it's like team's still very good. Obviously, why I have them 3, but I think there's just some kind of questionable situations going around. 2, I have Ethan. I think Ethan was good this year, just got super unlucky. He'll get Javonte Williams back. Did I say that wrong?
Javant. I don't know.
That just sounded weird coming out of my mouth. There was someone else that he had hurt this year. Chase missed some time. Someone else.
It was definitely a player.
Really not prepared for this, but yeah, we're good. I think he's gonna, bounce back. I think he has 1 or 2 firsts. I think kind of in like that mid range, so it's like maybe grabs running back, receiver, whatever. Gets a little bit more depth. I think the team is also, a lot of his pieces are young. You look at Olave, Dotson, Pierce, like 3 rookies that showed flashes. It's like if they take a step forward, it's like a good team with some studs and some good depth. And I think he got past this unlucky year, so next year he could really kind of shine, show what he's working with. And then 1, he was the highest expectations winner. That's Trevor. His team's loaded. He was really good this year. Finished 2nd in the regular season, and then 2nd in the playoffs. And I think he's got a good mix of like the vets, like a Derrick Henry, that it's like, yeah, he's proven to be good. He's going to be there. He's going to get his carries. Same thing at the receiver room. And then he has a mix of like young guys too, like a Pittman, where it's like, does he take a step forward if they draft or whoever their QB is? A lot of players like that, and it's like a good mix of the studs with the depth, and then he's a very good team. So yeah, that was the very condensed version. I think the original was like 45 minutes. There you probably got like,
I might at one point during the off season, if I can recover, just be like, hey, the lost episode.
Yeah, the good thing here too is probably into the next talking point. We're talking about the combine. First day was today. It was linebackers and like defensive line. Tomorrow's cornerbacks, but then Saturday is QBs, receivers, tight ends, and then Sunday's running backs, O line. But yeah, so that's big for fantasy. Obviously, seeing what some of these guys kind of like weigh in at, run at.
By the time you guys see this, it's probably already Sunday. So we're recording this Thursday night, but it is also currently 10:01 Friday morning.
Yeah. So we're heading into this combine. It's looking cool. So we're going to get to see stuff there. I think ideally maybe next week or the week after, we kind of come back, talk about the combine as like kind of like the new stuff. And then like there's going to be a better kind of idea about the draft. Do maybe like a quick draft show, and then maybe I'll talk about like
team needs.
Or
what we think they are.
Yeah, kind of like, oh, how could this go? And not really like a power rankings, but maybe like a quick overview of each team, and kind of, it's like, oh, they have this pick, or they don't have any picks, so they're stuck with this. So it's not like going to be, it'll be a little more in depth on each team, but maybe not like exactly a power rankings. But yeah, the combine is here. Excited about it.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone's more excited about it than Ashley, my girlfriend. She is very excited about the NFL Combine. Uh, this is the story. This is how she found Pierre, her favorite player. I think I watched it and I go, yeah, this guy people don't even really care about. And then he ran fast, and then Pierre became her favorite player. So she's avidly watching this year the combine to find her new favorite players.
Okay.
What she did today was she wrote down the names of every player participating in the combine. Didn't even like just print out a list. She wrote down the names
when she easily could have just like printed it out.
Yeah.
I mean, she is in college, so printing does cost money. I understand that. You know, I remember back when I was in school, like 3 years ago, it was like 25 cents a page.
Yeah, and she's making her rankings. So
wow.
So the rankings are.
So what I'm hearing is the Dragons have hired a scouting department.
No.
So she's a free agent scout.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Ashley, I'll give you I'll kill one spider a week for you to scout things.
She's already got a few early favorites. Those are Tank Bigsby, Josh Downs, Rashee Rice, and Olu Olabumawatini.
We apologize for messing up that name.
That was a tough name, but yeah, she's rating it off 5 things.
Let me guess, name is one of them.
Name is one of them, if she likes the name. So that's why Tank Bigsby has a point, because she likes that name. She likes the name Rashee Rice. One of the other things she rates on is chonk. It's if one of the linemen looks fat, and it's like we're watching a game and there was a guy and he had a big belly, and she was like, "This guy's amazing." So that's why Olu's on there. He's got a 9 out of 10 name and a 10 out of 10 chonk. She's also rating players on if she feels bad for them, because I guess her favorite soccer player, like Mueller or something, Muller, he like fell at one point during a big part of a game, and she felt really bad for him, and that's why he's her favorite soccer player. So she's hoping someone trips while running the 40, so then
she can feel bad for
that
them.
Will become.
Does she know do they get multiple attempts?
They do, but if he trips, she'll feel bad.
Okay.
And that's also why Josh Downs is there, because of his last name of Downs. The last two are speediness. She likes him to be fast, so the 40, and then just overall coolness. So the best someone could score is 50 out of 50, and then that's how she's looking to find some of her favorite players. And she's looking at every single player in the combine. There's like 300 something. She said she was at work and it took like 2 hours to write down every player's name. So Ashley, if you want Ashley's combine ratings at the end of this combine,
we'll have her on next episode.
Feel free to reach out and she'll rate them on the coolness, speediness, chonk, name, and if she feels bad for them for any reason. So
I don't know if it's because it's late or something, but that last one hit different.
So yeah, that's the Ashley combine grading system. Yeah, that's gonna end the episode. Yeah. We'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week. Have a good one.